Hey everyone, we're in our series, Kinda Sorta Christian. And today we're going to be talking about, I believe in God, but I don't fully trust Him. You see, a lot of us, I think, sometimes would say we have this core conviction about God. We believe in God. As a matter of fact, the statistics are overwhelming in that. But the real question is, do we really trust Him? Because if we don't really trust Him, then we're going to kind of live maybe what I'll call a partially surrendered life. Now, a partially surrendered life is this. It's like, I'm going to believe God for some things, but I'm not going to believe God for everything. God, I'm going to trust you on the little things, but I'm not sure I can trust you on the big things. And so there's this famous verse in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. Now, we all enjoy this verse. I mean, this is a very popular verse, but really, this isn't usually the verse a lot of us live. So there's another verse. I'm calling it a partially surrendered life version, and this is a made-up version. Somebody made it up, and then I made it up a little bit more, but listen to how it goes. It's Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 in a partially surrendered life version. Trust in the Lord with a small part of your heart. Lean on your own understanding. In a few ways, acknowledge God. You can make your own path straight. I mean, that's the way we kind of live, isn't it? That we don't trust God with all of our heart. We kind of trust Him with part of our heart. Now, the second thing I want to say is that you're not alone in your trust issues with God. As a matter of fact, a guy in the New Testament brings his son who, an evil spirit had been tormenting most of his life. And he really wants Jesus to heal his son, but he doesn't totally believe Jesus. He believes Him, but he has unbelief. Listen to what the text says, Mark 9, 23 and 24. What do you mean, if I can, Jesus asked. Anything is possible if a person believes. The father instantly cried out, I do believe, but help me overcome my unbelief. I don't know about you, but I can relate to this man, and you can probably relate to this man, that sometimes we all struggle with fully trusting God. But what I really want to talk to you about today is the three keys to fully trusting God, because there are three keys the Bible tells us to fully trusting God. Here's the first key, and I'm going to tell you right up front, it's counterintuitive. It's countercultural. It's maybe not going to make sense, but here it is. Don't trust yourself. Because that's what Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived, tells us in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will show you which path to take. I mean, Solomon clearly tells us if you really want to fully trust God, it begins by not trusting yourself. You got to trust someone bigger than yourself, and that is God. Now, the second key to fully trusting God is to remember who God is and what He can do. See, there was this epic time in the history of Israel where God uses Moses and He does this really big thing. He releases God's people from the bondage and slavery of the Egyptians. He's taking the people towards the promised land. But along the way, the people stop trusting God. They start criticizing God and doubting God, and they stop trusting God. And things got so bad, as a matter of fact, neither Moses nor those people were able to go to the promised land. So God gets Moses' apprentice, Joshua, this young leader. What an intimidating position to be in. Joshua's got to follow in the footsteps of Moses. And he says, Joshua, you're going to lead my people into the promised land, but I want you to remember who I am and what I can do. So in a very powerful verse in Joshua chapter 1, listen to what God says to Joshua. I promise you what I promised Moses. Wherever you set your foot, you will be on land I've given you. No one will be able to stand against you as long as you live. For I will be with you as I was with Moses. I will not fail you or abandon you. This is my command. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. See, God wants to remind Joshua, and He wants to remind us, listen, you can fully trust me if you remember who I am and what I can do. And the third key and the final key to trusting God is to hang out with God. Yeah, to hang out with God. Here's why, because you can't will yourself to trust God. You can't force yourself to trust God. You can't work at it and work at it and work at it. None of that will work. Here's what really works. The more time you spend with God, who is absolutely faithful, absolutely trustworthy in your life, the more time you spend with God, the more you're going to trust him. See, here's how it works, that time equals trust. And so the third and final key to have a deep trust of God is to spend time with God. And when you spend time with God, you're going to realize how trustworthy he is.